Come on, bro. Let's make a song. Let's drop one, Rich.
I play football.
Here we go.
Football.
I play football.
You ain't got no hobbies outside of that?
I play football.
That's
That's
your
the
only
only thing I
hobby?
want people to know me as football players. When they search up Cam Ward, we say American football.
Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the hip hop lobbyist, and the NFL draft is over, and it has been a week for black football players or black men in general. Now, a lot of has been said about Shedeur Sanders' slide in the draft. I think that a number of things are kind of overshadowing, right? And I know that we're a couple of days past it, so bear with me shooting the content for what it is, but make sure that when anything you like, subscribe, and help build the community out. But for real, one thing I saw in this entire process is a narrative of two different black men. If you've ever read the book $40 Million Slaves by William Roden, you would quietly realize that that book needs a whole new chapter, a whole new version, just based off the Cam Ward Shedeur Sanders draft. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the book, that book does talk about the history of not exploiting black athletes, but the history of how athletics became really a career field for black Americans across the board. And it goes back to the Negro Leagues, really slavery, the founding and foundation of the Negro Leagues, how segregation or desegregation helped build that league on top of world-class boxers like William Molyneux and others who not only helped break barriers, but ended up going over to other countries in Europe and other places to live a better life because they didn't want to come back to America. But that entire growth, even to Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, whatever it could be, that entire thing kind of transpires to a point of saying, you know what, they need a new version of that kind of incorporates today's narrative with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, because what you have are two different black quarterbacks. Now, remember, this is the same NFL that for years they didn't draft black quarterbacks. And now we're in the series of this life where multiple black quarterbacks are drafted number one overall to lead franchises. Now, some of them don't pan out. Some of them do. Some of them are really better than what their draft positions overall. However, I think in this case of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, we have two different dynamics. We have one of a father who was there raising his son, who was a zero star, who had to get it out in the mud, who is basically ending and changing generational lifestyles or breaking generational curses through his work and his effort, right? And the NFL owners, powers that be, are able to say, you know what, cool, we want to give this young man, Cam Ward, a chance. On the other hand, now, even before NIL, to be real, how many college football stars do you know that had an AP? Now, I get it, Money Manziel. I was a fan of Money Manziel. Throw the monies up, right? He was throwing to Mike Evans. Good shit, good comparison. Travis Hunter, Mike Evans is the quarterback, is the receiver, right? However, you have two different dynamics here. The son of a Hall of Fame NFL legend who has a confidence, but who doesn't, essentially in the narrative of most, getting it out the mud, right? And I think that narrative, that portrayal, that is really kind of skewed because it's really pitted two great fathers who put everything that they've had into their kids, going two different paths, supporting them for the past 20 plus years. And then one of them being chastised for being overconfident, and the other one getting a number one overall pick. And, a part of me thought about it, to be real. When Cam Ward was drafted, I'm like, you know what, damn, this is really kind of, this whole Shadeur news is shitting on really everything. The thing is, you've never seen, as all the people put, you've never seen somebody so accurate, so decorated, who's poised in the pocket, who could build a team around. But it's a confidence to say, you know what, damn, I told somebody, a good friend of mine, who's an NFL scout, and they were like, you know what, Shadour's not lower on late first round, early second round on our board. No nonsense. It's like, damn, like, how does he slip to the third, the fourth, the fifth round? And I'm like, realistically, even as a Raiders fan, I sat back and told myself, you know what? Every point that they were at with this draft, oh, we're going to get Shadeur here. Oh, we drafted a couple receivers. We drafted some old linemen, to help build around him on top of what we have. It's plug and play. It's puzzle pieces, right? Not to win a Super Bowl right now, but to build and be competitive against the Chiefs and things of that nature. And I realized, damn, we're really not getting this guy. And the light bulb clicked to me and said, you know what? He's already a million.
I've been thinking about those minutes all week. Got them baguettes up on my neck and stay shining. It's never out around my jewelry, chasing climbing. I went and got that new.
Like you said, right? How many, ask yourself for real, NFL owners that are out there, it's like, all right, cool. We're normally the ones helping you get the wealth so you can buy the Lambo, have these parties, be where you're at, right? We want you to come to the league and we're helping you get the veneers or the iced out chains or the braces or whatever it is and having an entourage around you. You're coming with your own entourage into the NFL. That's one thing. But on top of it is, with you already having this and us being billionaires and able to make you a millionaire, why are we going to give you guaranteed first round money? We would rather give, I feel, and I haven't heard this perspective out there, we would rather give the poor kid who was 0-star, make him the face of the league, make him the number 1 overall pick, without the entourage, without everything else, because guess what? We can make him. Because the poverty struggle, the poverty piece is better than somebody who's actually came through. It's the same thing we're seeing with Bronny. Now, do I think personally that Bronny is an NBA player? He's a great player. Do I think he would be on the Lakers if it wasn't for his dad? No. Do I think Shadeur would be in the NFL if it wasn't for his dad? Yes. I do feel that the part of the humbling piece that we've all seen is like, you know what, damn, NFL owners, all 32 collectively said, okay, he's a first round talent, but we're going to wait till round 5. To a point where the president of the United States, Donald Trump, yes, the same Trump you hate for Saquon Barkley, and you know it's serious when Donald Trump gets involved. What is wrong with NFL owners? They are stupid. Deion Sanders was a great college football player. That means he's already, listen, if you go back to Deion Sanders' Hall of Fame speech, you will know exactly his humble beginnings, right? And the humble beginnings that made him grind who he is today, right? And a part of it is when you see that he came from being a great college football player, was great in the NFL, even better, a very good coach, hero, streetwise and smart. Therefore, Shadeur, his quarterback's son, has phenomenal genes. Now, some people were triggered by that. Some people were triggered by the fact that Trump said he has phenomenal genes. Oh, is he a black athlete? Like, no, bro. Everything Deion has ever said for real has been about God. God pouring into his kids, God pouring into his life, everything. So if that lines up with what most people align with, like, hey, he's putting God first regardless of what, even if it's like that's a portrayal, guess what? The pastor portrays that till you find out what happens with the church. So you still believe in him, right? So at least give Deion that grace to say, you know what, this is what he portrayed. He's a great father. He's supporting his kid. He gave up his broadcasting career to coach his kid. He's phenomenal genes. Yes, there is a part of boasting and bragging about what we do as a culture, black people across the world. My brothers and sisters in Africa, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nairobi, Congo, Republic of Congo, other places. We're all kind of boastful in our culture. However, the phenom of being a great black dad that's pouring into your kid that grew up and has made it and been successful, and then have that flipped over, have your son embarrassed by all 32 NFL owners, any way Shadeur gets a chance to shit on this league, he will. And that's the thing that's going to drive this fan. Because even the president of the United States saw the nonsense. Right? The fact that we talk about trickle-down economics, right? The trickle-down economics is fine if you don't have it. But if you got it and you earned it, guess what? You still going to have to work 10 times harder, because the NFL owners are basically saying, like, listen, We don't want to make you, who's already a millionaire, coming in with the Lambos, coming in with the gold chains, coming in with the great father, coming in with all these accolades, even had your number retired, and you never even won a national championship in college. And guess what? We're not going to give you the satisfaction of having anything guaranteed from us. Because we realize that giving you anything else guaranteed is going to help our brand. Giving you anything guaranteed isn't going to. So let's make the first round, second round, third round, fourth round. Are we in the fact where he's going to have to earn it? Where we could pick him up with an undrafted free agent? And he came in and said, I'll be honest with you, I'll be real. A lot of Shadeur's persona and ego may give off the wrong aura and vibes for me, right? However, the confidence you have being in that position, knowing nothing was handed to you, knowing you didn't get it out the mud, but you had everything around you to help make sure that even though I'm eating, I'm still going to work as hard as somebody else who wants, right? I don't know if my algorithm was just showing me the Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders personality beast, and they're practicing their trainings and things like that. But to the main point, the president even saw the bullshit. For the 32 NFL owners and the minority owners and say, hey, man, this is what we need. Like, you know what? We're not going to give this kid an opportunity to make more. Because you know what? If we give him a chance, no bullshit. Imagine if Tom Brady was drafted in the first round. Don't you think he would be more than a minority owner in the Raiders? Don't you think he will be more than maybe a statue in Tampa and New England? Think about this. If Shadour is a top 5 pick, if Shadour ends up taking the Vegas Raiders or the Browns or the Giants, because those are teams that needed quarterbacks. Not every team needed a quarterback, right? And he goes and wins the Super Bowl. Competes and dethrones Mahomes, or competes and makes himself the Lamar Jackson the next 4 or 5 years from now. Now he got to compete against Lamar. Crazy. All that put together, if he builds that, you don't think he becomes already a millionaire, multimillionaire, $100 million man? He's like $200 million, $300, $400 million. What do I need to own equity in this team? How about you pay me the league minimum to make me the highest paid player, but give me 5% equity team? So in 20 years from now, he can be an owner of his own team. You don't think the owners think like that? Put it this way. Those are 32 power brokers that control the economies in these cities that they have teams in. It's not just the NFL players that are getting money. It's the insurances. It's the construction people. It's the vendors, the parking lot attendants, ticket people. It's the restaurants around there that benefit every game day, whether it's a football game, a monster truck show. It could be a random Savannah, a baseball team that comes and sells out your stadium. You don't think that that's economic boom for that city and that state? That's why you have issues where these teams are going to Europe and having these games saying, hey, what about the money that's supposed to be here locally? You're sending to Germany and Russia and all these other places to have these football games. Yeah, that's great, but nobody's coming here to see soccer. Football. Well, they are not. But even Trump saw the nonsense, right? He should be picked, if the president's saying this, immediately by a team that wants to win. Good luck, Shadour, and say hello to your wonderful father. Which kind of proves that, you know what, this goes back to the whole narrative of Trump wasn't all that bad before he was president. He was cool with a lot of people. He shot the shit, said what it is. It is what it is. You know, keep it moving. But the main point is, there's a difference in this coverage. There was a major difference because even going back to
Shedeur had a rough first day of school. Got to talk to a young fella. Let's come on in the weight room. Let's blow off some steam.
How you feel?
Hey, tell me what's wrong. Come here.
Y'all notice that even in all the pre-draft stuff, all the stuff about Shadeur's attitude, college highlight, and I get he's a kid now. And all the stuff about his dad that they attacked him on, nobody talked about this.
What's your last name?
Sanders?
What does Sanders mean?
My last name?
That we're confident, that we're tough, We could make it through anything. I knew changing schools was gonna be hard on grown, but times like this, baby, it makes a young fella grow up and get a little tougher. We're Sanders, man. That's who we are.
It was a bad day for me because I really didn't know that many people. So whenever you don't know that many people, it's not going to be that fun.
You're a strong kid, buddy. You're not? Why you don't think you're strong? Shadeur has to get motivated. Shadeur has to dominate what's ever ahead of him. This is just one of many hurdles that he's gonna cross or come across in life.
Look at this.
Over your head. Over your head. By yourself. You did that by yourself. It's just like life. You think I'm gonna let something take advantage of you? Huh? That's what a daddy is. I'm here to protect you, to guide you and lead you. I got you, man. You understand?
See, and that's what they compared it to Eli getting drafted. It's like, you know what? That's exactly what every black father wants at this job. You want to be a quarterback? You don't have to do this. You can go be a banker. You can go be a finance. You can go be a politician. You can do whatever with this name. You don't have to be in this NFL. You don't have to be in this league and put your body and your heart and mind through this. You can sit here and be a media personality off my name. But I'm going to be a good dad and support you for whatever you need. And Deion did that. And the 32 NFL owners didn't go back and look at this video. The 32 NFL owners didn't say to themselves, you know what? We understand that the kid's at a point where he has to tell the world how great he is. But look at his up. Look who came in. And we understand that Deion had a personality. It was dominating. And I do get it to an extent for some of these teams. Like, you know what? We already have a first-round pick. It's like getting 2 first-round picks. That means you're getting 2 leaders in that locker room, 2 young leaders in that locker room. One of them, you ain't got to pay that much. He already seen money. He's not going to be attracted by the distractions. Check this out. He's not going to be attracted by the Lambos and going to the club and everything else. He may actually study more on the books. Because guess what? I already got the cash, bro. That lifestyle, here for this. But when you don't have it, finally exposed to it, of course you're going to be drinking more. Of course you're going to find distractions to keep you from being the best version, professional version of you. Because even you're professional, how many of y'all were really professional at 20? And you asking somebody to be professional at 23 with a couple $1 million for the first time versus somebody who has a couple $1 million for their lifetime. It's a different mindset. I remember, and I can get it for some of these owners, right? And they could see this part with Prime and his son, be like, you know what? We don't care about that. I remember I was working somewhere, I had some interns, and young lady's family was very wealthy. They came from a very wealthy family. He had one of the newest series BMWs just driving around, right? Even to an internship. So when she started working at our firm, the biggest thing was the owner of the firm basically said, like, you know what? Cool. I have the best car in this parking lot. Who has a better car than me? You can't pull up to the job as an intern, as a rookie, as a freshman, have a better car than the teacher or the principal of that school. Because they're going to sit back and say, who the hell are you? They understand exactly the difference, and they gain some angst to it. Like, you know what? I know your father's mayor. I know your daddy's the mayor. I know he's the governor, whatever, but I'm jealous. I'm hurtful. I'm spiteful. But I was an egg farmer who had to get it out of the mud and decided to be a billionaire off of my earnings. Said, you know what my pastime is? Football. I just want to own my own team and help young men, help me live my dreams of getting a Super Bowl champion and being a multi-billionaire. I help make you a millionaire. If you sprawl off that money, you got to sprawl off that money, but it's okay. But for this young man right here with this upbringing, the owner said, you know what, F all that. We cannot have this kid here because this isn't camp. This isn't a kid out of the struggle who needs this.
What happened now? I mean, they offered me, what can you say?
Who is they?
Who offered you? LSU. Real top school.
Who else?
UTEP. They gave me an opportunity. And then,
Are you thankful?
very
Are
thankful.
you appreciative?
This all wouldn't have happened if it was because of one man.
Jesus.
God.
That's right. All right, what happened now?
But you see that's some good home training. Even as a father myself, something I could pick up on. It's like you see the arrogance setting in a little bit. It's like, hey, who got you here? You're not gonna be thankful. You're not gonna appreciate any of this. This isn't given. Even though they know me, I'm not playing on the field. That's basically what I'm not playing on the field. But guess what? Who Shedeur ended up leaning on? Even Shadour, you can see it in the Sanders family in the interviews. They lean on God, Jesus. Why wouldn't you want that? Isn't that what Tebow brought to the table? Didn't Tebow cry and pray after every game and tell you the glory of God and everything? But sometimes I think the flash of the outside makes you forget what's on the inside, and that's what all 32 NFL told us. Like, listen, we're not going to make this young man multi-millionaire. What we're going to do is make him earn it. Because this may be the only time this young black man has actually had to earn and work for something that he really wants in his entire life. Just imagine if you turn around the Browns franchise, going up against the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers every year. They put you in the gauntlet. Now, the gauntlet could be the Giants against the Eagles, the Redskins, and the Cowboys every year. The gauntlet could have been the Raiders against the Chiefs, the Chargers, and who else in our division? It don't matter. Chiefs winning it right now. But they gave you the gauntlet that a lot of people, they closed Cleveland's franchise, moved it to Baltimore, and they came back and opened a new one. They're giving you the Cleveland Cavaliers before they drafted Kyrie, Deion Waiters. Made the trade to get Kevin Love. LeBron came. They're giving you the Cleveland Cavaliers of Paul Silas. What's overshadowed this entire draft process that we've seen are two great black dads that instilled and did everything for them. Regardless of it. Like, if you've seen Deion's Hall of Fame speech, you know exactly what he's gone through and what his motivation was. With Cam Ward's dad, it's the same thing. Like, listen, I didn't make it to that. I wasn't no NFL. I'm not top 5, top 10. Nobody debates my greatness against other eras of quarterbacks. But you being my son, I'm going to instill everything I have in you. And guess what? You're going to be a step ahead of most high school and college quarterbacks because I'm going to instill this in you. 5 and 6 and 7 years old, and you're going to get the bare minimum is what I knew 15, 20 years ahead. Isn't that what Jay-Z said? That we want to basically, it took me 26 years to find my path. My only job is to cut your time in half. So by 13, Cam Ward knew he wanted to be a great quarterback. Shedeur Sanders knew that too. And they took 2 different paths to get there. And the perception of NFL owners, the perception of the owners across the board in this nonprofit membership league association is not to lynch Shedeur Sanders. They just want somebody out of the struggle. They're not going to support the collective of billionaires and money that's out there. It's like, listen, if they see it, just like the politicians, that's not the candidate. He's too boastful. He's too brash. He's too outspoken. If you want to be black and successful and you want our support, don't ever think that we on the same. Don't ever pull up to my establishment with your Lamborghini still driving my Honda Accord. Because while I'm sitting here trying to cut costs, you're showing me that you're making more than I did last quarter. And I can't have you coming in here thinking that you're on par with me, or I have to be guaranteeing. That's really what it is.
I played for a youth team called the Fort Myers Rebels, and they blessed me. They took me all over the country to play and expose me to things, expose you to things. And everybody on that team, their parents owned something, and their parents were doctors or lawyers or the chief of police. It was that type of organization. Me and one of my friends were the only African-American kids that was on that team, and it was a very affluent team, and I was ashamed of my mama. Because my mama worked in the hospital. She cleaned up the hospital. She pushed the cart. And I was ashamed of my mama who sacrificed, who loved me, who protected me, who gave me everything I want to make sure I was best dressed in school. And I had everything that was late that came out. I had it first. I was ashamed of my mama. Because one of my friends in high school, he saw her in a hospital one night pushing a cart. And he came back and he clowned me. He ridiculed me and he mocked me because of my mama. So I made a pledge to myself that I don't care what it takes. I don't care what it may take. I'm not going to do anything illegal, but my mama would never have to work another day of her life.
See, and the problem is really, this is the struggle that the NFL owners wanted on. And because Shedeur Sanders, as a black man, didn't have to create or come from that struggle of being embarrassed about his, because the wealth that they grew up around and standards that they were currently in, because that could have been Cam Ward's story. And if it was Shedeur Sanders' story in another lifetime, because it was Deion's story, that's the story that the NFL owners. And they didn't go through and say, you know what, out of all the highlight tapes, he's the most poised in the pocket, one of the top 3, top 5, top quarterbacks in this draft. We're not going to look at that. Never been arrested, never had an issue that you hear about in the press at least. Always a negative. Be confident. Just to be humbled by the man. Either way, I know I said a lot today. I hope we chopped this up really well. But please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more. I tried not to really touch this topic, but when the president said, you know what, it's a lot of craziness. You NFL owners are acting foolish. I think it's a wake-up call to the NFL like, hey, y'all really fucked up on this. Because there was no need for this to happen the way it did. But at the same time, you've clearly shown what the community needs, what everybody needs. They're a Browns fan quietly. I think the entire NFL, the world is going to be for his entire career. And the politics that you all played on draft night will come out to fruition, because when it's time to renegotiate, when it's time to sign this player and you realize exactly what you got, he's going to want that first round money. I don't care, 5th round pick, whatever. Let know what you got. You know what I'm bringing to you. Pass me over 5 times. Not going to pass me over again. Either way, appreciate y'all tapping into the channel. It's Hip Hop Lobbyist. I'm out.